red side, and on blue, I mean probably Malzahar is gonna be perma-banned away.
Yep, that has become the standard nowadays. And Longzhu, being on the blue side, will have some more flexibility with the bans. See what they do want to take away from BBQ.
And so Varus being banned away, standard ban there. Probably going to be followed up with Camille or LeBlanc. This is patch 7.4. I thought it was going to be 7.5 coming into tonight as it starts the new week, but...
Maybe next week, I guess.
Now actually Longzhu highlighting the LeBlanc, banning that away. A little bit surprising.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Fly playing that LeBlanc last week, and to be honest, it was not the most impressive performance. So maybe they're just saying, okay, we just want to get that out of the way. We don't want to be forced into first picking it. BBQ no doubt watched those games. So they're going to go ahead and ban Graves, which is becoming more and more popular as a first ban. This does leave stuff like Rumble open, which is also becoming more popular across the board.
Now Longzhu highlighting Ashe as the first pick. Not sure if this is the best decision necessarily. It does provide the soft counter to the Jhin and Caitlyn, but in recent weeks we've seen Ezreal pick up a lot of flare, and speak of the devil, there he is.
Yeah, will be picked up here. I mean, we've seen Prey play quite good Ashe and Jhin, so maybe just feeling pretty comfortable on that one to give Prey a chance to carry this one.
And they're highlighting the Lulu, and this provides actually a lot of synergy potentially for what BBQ could go into later on. Again, I mentioned how Bless is notorious for his Rek'Sai picks, and so the Lulu would have a lot of synergy there later on in the draft phase, as opposed to a Karma pick here with the Ezreal on red side.
I came from France. Heart O Gaming. Heart. Welcome to the studio.
There we go.
Fly's like, this doesn't impress me.
Yeah, I'm not amused.
I want to get into the game. Oh wow, that's Crash, actually.
I'm not amused with you, Brandon.
I'm not amused either.
I think they all just look alike. But all right, Kha'Zix and Nautilus for Longzhu. Gonna be locked in, so lots of engage potential. And BBQ responding with Elise, surprisingly. So the Lulu's still gonna have some synergy there, but not the pick I was expecting, at least not at this stage of the pick ban phase. Now BBQ, they can target away supports here, as Longzhu did neglect that in their pick phase right now. And Karma is still on the table. BBQ might ban that away second, but if you're Longzhu, you're looking to probably just ban away top laners now, and there's the Shen being highlighted.
Yeah, so the question is, as you said before, what will be the support if they do want to ban out that support? No, they're just going to go for the Rise ban.
Not sure if that's the best ban against Longzhu in particular. I feel like Fly is a lot more versatile with his champion pool, and now Longzhu going to be able to decide what they want to ban away last. Could just ban something away from Tempt here. Don't need to commit another ban up in the top lane. Syndra being highlighted, and she is banned. So now BBQ has to choose here if they're going to want to commit to the counter pick in mid or top, and it looks like they're highlighting a Vladimir.
Interesting pick. We haven't really seen it have too much success here in LCK. And with Rumble still being open, I do like this pick personally a bit more.
Now the Rumble will be going into top lane against the Nautilus, and they're gonna decide to go with the counter pick in mid lane. Longzhu now highlighting that Karma, that's the champion I talked about that BBQ could have banned away. They might lock it in here.
6 seconds. Go down to the wire, and they might have just been trying to decide what their mid laner is going to be during that time. Maybe they already decided on picking the Karma up. Prey Whiting. Definitely some pressure on Prey to do a bit of carrying today. We'll see if he can.
Now they're highlighting the Vladimir.
You talked about mind games a little bit last time we casted on Sunday. Maybe BBQ didn't even want to pick the Vlad, but now they're thinking, you know, maybe LZ is thinking that they did want to pick the Vlad, and that's why they try to counter pick it here, but BBQ wasn't even planning on taking it the first time.
Now BBQ is going to get the counter pick in mid lane. They're hovering a chase right now. That would be a very interesting matchup in mid. Longzhu's team composition, I do have to say, they're very, very all in. And I mean, they're gonna have a lot of one-item spikes, and they'll transition a little bit into the mid game, but a lot of it has a reliance on having an explosion, basically leading into the mid game, and constantly accelerating ahead of your opponent. They don't have the most scaling, not compared to BBQ. Rumble, if he can reach 6 items, Jace and Ezreal, gonna be extremely scary. And then the longer the game goes on, Lulu gonna prove to be more and more obnoxious against Longzhu's burst all-ins. So that's gonna be how they coordinate the team fights. You see Tempt not opting for a teleport. So he's gonna go into mid lane with an aggressive summoner, or defensive one, however you want to perceive that exhaust. Which does mean that they won't have a 1-3-1 available to them necessarily.
Interesting that they take that second exhaust. You were talking about the all-in possibility, or, you know, kind of just that feeling that Longzhu has to go all in on a lot of these team fights. If you have a second exhaust, that's a pretty nice tool that you can use if the Vladimir is running into you, or if the Kha'Zix tries to jump in onto your back line. So it'll help in the lane, but also a little bit later on in the game, mid and late game. So taking a last look here at the compositions: Nautilus, Kha'Zix, Vladimir, Ashe, and Karma for Longzhu. And
now Rumble, Elise, Jace, Ezreal, and Lulu for BBQ. We'll have to see what they can do with it. And again, BBQ, they do have the luxury of the scaling on their side, but they're going to have to weather the storm early on.
That's going to be the key for them here. So let's see how it goes down in Game 1 of Longzhu versus BBQ. Oh boy.
It sounded like it was going to be so much louder.
Yeah.
For BBQ, and then we got the...
Yeah, I mean, generally
squeal. I don't even know.
Generally the first girl kind of sets the tone, right?
Yeah.
The other girls are like, oh man, we got to do a really big cheer because she screamed her heart out, but it was not the case this time. So, Prey taking a little bit of damage should be okay.
I'm not liking that chroma for Ghost. I'm not feeling it, Brendan.
You want to talk to him after the game?
Well, you know what? It reminds me of that guy from Sailor Moon.
That guy from Sailor Moon, I have no idea what you're talking about. I know what Sailor Moon is.
You don't remember the Tuxedo Mask. Was that his name? I think that was his name, Brendan.
Tuxedo Mask.
I think that was...
Okay. I feel like they didn't do that good of a job naming that character. Tuxedo Mask.
Yeah, that was his name, Tuxedo Mask in Sailor Moon.
Well, there you have it, guys. You figured it out. So Tuxedo Mask and Lulu in the bot lane here for BBQ. What do you think about Totoro not taking Star Guardian, Lulu?
I think it, you know, it's all right. Dragon Trainer Lulu. I think it fits in today. Yeah? Because today is White Day. Now, I don't know why exactly that fits in, but here in South Korea, it's White Day today. Yeah. March 14th. This is the day where the girls get candy for the guys.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice holiday. I like it. You get to receive some candy. Definitely say it's one of my more liked holidays here in Korea.
Why is that, Brendan?
Oh, because you receive candy.
Okay.
On White Day, yeah. Nice sock shot there, spots Bless.
Right now, a lot of the pressure is actually going to be on Crash to make stuff happen early on. They did spot him out. They know that he's extremely low on HP and low on mana. So he's not going to be able to do too much in that regard. And you can see that Bless is actually reading the situation very well. You can see the type of clear that he's going for. He knows that there's no real opening for him to do anything relative to these team compositions. And that a lot of the pressure, again, is going to be on Crash to somehow make something happen. And Crash is actually opting to persist on with his root. He cleared the Scuttle Crab. He's moving into Bless's red side jungle, and this is a very big coin flip. And that's getting found out, actually, at...
Yeah.
Bless this can be disastrous.
Could repel the wall, and uh-oh. Oh, he's actually going to leap the wall, and now he's forced to flash. Bless could follow. Is he going to go? Decides not to. That's very interesting. He just used his leap and his flash. He had no other escape. And Bless at full health, Crash at half health. Maybe he just didn't know what was on the other side of the wall.
It's a little bit weird because he had vision and intel from his laners, and he must have known that Crash could not be doing too much. And now, though, he will be rewarded with the Wolf Camp. He's not even having to smite it.
Yeah.
He's not done yet. I think he's going to attempt to disrupt...
well, missed that one.
Yeah, missed that one.
I mean, it's the extremely safe play. You know that you will be rewarded as long as you follow Crash and the Wolves are up, you know. But I think a more aggressive jungler would have 100% flashed the wall and gone for the first blood.
Also interesting that he has to know that Crash didn't entirely clear his Krugs. If he just hits tab and reads the CS, that's obviously going to tell him that he has to get over to that camp and clear it, and yet he hasn't done that yet. But he is picking up his second Wraith camp of the game, and that's pretty big.
Nice ward placement there. I think that was by Tempt. He's going to spot exactly where Crash is on the map, so you can see Elise heading up top now. They may look for a dive here onto Expression, but doesn't have all that much mana. Might have to wait for the next wave.
Bless might just disrupt this recall and keep him underneath his turret. They know that Expression doesn't really have the mana to do anything here. And oh, he's actually stuck between a rock and a hard place.
He's going to choose the Elise, and it's not going to help him out. First blood given over to Crazy in the top lane. Very nice gank there by Bless.
That was the most peculiar gank up in top, and I don't fully understand what just actually happened there. In the meanwhile, I mean, Crash responded by attempting to get some counter jungling off, but a very clean first blood given over to Crazy, who already has himself a really nice CS lead. He's able to retain that teleport advantage, and that is gigantic for bottom lane plays. Especially because now Bless, he knows he's going to transition onto the right-hand side of the map unless he wants to immediately go back up to top lane and just create a giant snowball inside of that Rumble.
Looks like for now Bless is heading down towards his Wolves. But as you said, things could definitely get a bit crazy for that Rumble in the top lane. You can see that he's actually moving into the river now, maybe forcing a fight with Nautilus. Taking a look at bot lane, things are pretty even. 47 to 49 in farm. Not really a big advantage one way or the other. You can see that Gorilla picked up 2 of the CS as well.
Tuxedo Mask trying to do his best to farm right now. Oh, that was actually a pretty cute trade by Ghost. Bless is just playing with heavy aggression on the left-hand side of the map, and I really like that he's recognizing that these are the 2 lanes where it matters. If Vladimir doesn't get ahead, and if they can remove Nautilus from the equation, because Rumble is so crucial in stopping Longzhu's engagements, that any acceleration for him is going to be gigantic.
See that Tempt is doing a pretty nice job in mid, just slightly ahead in that CS, so Vlad isn't getting out of control just yet. Ghost getting aggressive here. Might actually, well, no. Gonna be pushed back here by Totoro. Bless very aggressive once again, and this is spotted by Award. They know this is happening. But with all three members of BBQ, mid, top, and jungle joining up here at the blue, they're just gonna elect to go towards the BBQ blue. And it doesn't look like he ran over a ward, but they do know that this is a potential response. And right now the bottom lane is coming up here towards blue.
Crash has to be careful. Oh, he did not have Smite. That could have gotten very dangerous.
That was
right now, the problem is that the way that bottom lane is positioned makes it extremely difficult for Crash to do anything, although he plants a ward, but Expression doesn't have a teleport. And if they did try to get too aggressive, they do have the teleport on Crazy. He would be able to come down.
And Crash being spotted on that right side jungle. Elise is coming in here going to steal the Gromp of Crash, and does have the red buff once again. We'll see if he does want to make a move up towards top again. There is a control ward denying vision of him. And here he comes again. Down comes the Rumble ultimate. They're going to outburst that damage onto Expression. It looks like Rumble has to get out of there with that ultimate. He almost dies. Bless going on in. So low there is Crash, or rather Expression, but he does eventually go down in a pretty scary tower dive that they make work. Really nice cocoon there. Not able to flash it, unfortunately, is Crash. And Bless and Crazy will get away.
Huge victories for BBQ here in game number 1. Bless really getting that Rumble ahead up in top lane, and that's going to pay dividends the longer that this game goes. That Rumble is going to be such a nuisance with the equalizer and the way that Longzhu tries to engage, and that's going to enable Jason Ezreal to keep on scaling up and hold that.
Yeah, the flash away from Gorilla is not going to help him. The knockback there onto Prey. He flashes too, but goes down and gives another kill to Crazy. And this is beginning to get a little bit out of hand here for BBQ.
Yeah, BBQ barbecuing Longzhu here in game 1. So far, the Rumble absolutely gigantic. We'll take another quick replay. Gorilla and Prey just a little bit too far up. Too close range of an arrow, doesn't really do much. Tempt with an excellent flash knockback into his teammates. Crazy was just there to add anything extra. They didn't convert that into a dragon capture because, well, it is Cloud Drake.
The Clown Drake himself, nobody really cares about him. Just tooting his nose, no one really hears it. And it seems like Longzhu want to turn this back on a Totoro. They might be able to pick up a kill. There they go. The isolated Lulu does meet her maker.
Very bizarre pickup. It's always weird to see kills like that happen in pro play. Seems a little bit too standard. Ghost might actually be next on the list. They're going to be able to force him off and try to actually salvage this situation by getting First Blood turret. You can see the Crazy proxying the wave, trying to do whatever he can to establish control up in top. But Les actually got that counter smite.
Misses his cocoon, was reading it a little bit too far forward. Tempt's now going heavy onto Fly. The exhaust comes down, the knockback towards the wall. Here comes Crazy with the equalizer. Decides not to go for it just yet. They will elect to just push Fly off the turret. He's sticking around though. They don't know exactly if he's totally backed off. There's Crash to pick up the the remnants of the wave. Bless just barely does not catch Fly on his recall.
And what they're doing right there, when they rotate down Crazy, yes, they're looking for the kill onto Fly, but what it's also doing is it's forcing Crash to come into mid lane. Otherwise, Tempt would be able to apply too much damage to that mid-tier 1 turret. So right now, the Vladimir pick, it's kind of all over the place. You see, it has the Kindle Gem, has the Seeker's Arm Guard. He has 2 amplifying tomes. Fly looking a little bit weird on the Vlad so far.
To be honest, I was talking about this before. He hasn't looked too impressive in his past 2 series that we've watched him. And they do have a sub-mid laner, BDD. We have not seen him once this season. Correct me if I'm wrong. So maybe we're getting closer to the potential switch.
Bottom lane, actually, there is a little bit of a clock on that turret. Bless is going to need to do something if he wants to try to salvage the First Blood turret power for his team. But if you're Longzhu, I mean, Crash really needs to come up with something. In a few of his past series, he's done this thing that he's doing, I mean, here in game number 1, where he needs to create opportunities for his teams and find the openings, because that's just the dynamic of the team compositions, and he's not really doing too much. He has a little bit more CS than Bless, but that's negated by the pressure that Bless created in all the other lanes.
Yeah, getting Rumble to 2-0, as you mentioned many times, is going to be a bit better than a 1-0 Kha'Zix that's got 20 more farm. Here comes Bless down into bottom, looking for something. You can see both top laners do have their teleports up. No blasting plant, making their way towards that Cloud Drake. A ping did go down, but they decide against it.
Game's in a little bit of a lull phase. Not too much chaos happening. Bless recalling is probably just going to immediately go over to his red, capture that, then look to make something happen in mid or top lane.
You can see that now with that Spirit Visage. Expression is having a little bit better of a time against Crazy. And now Crash making his way up. The amount of lockdown that Expression does have, and the lack of escape that Crazy has outside of his flash, they could look to make something happen. Here comes the ultimate, the stealth in from Crash. The equalizer coming down, but I think it's just going to be too much damage. Crazy fighting back, though. Almost gets the kill onto Crash, but eventually does go down.
I'm wondering if he didn't miss that harpoon, if he would have been able to actually kill Crash there. Yes, Crash had his flash available, but it's not entirely the point. It's a nice little pickup for Expression and Crash. Temp trying to do what he can to secure any sort of a micro advantage in this lane. Not really coming up too big. He does have a 20 CS lead, but it's not the end of the world.
And he's putting a lot of pressure too. You can see he always just pushes in the lane. He's done a bit more damage to this turret than Fly has. And there's Crash actually clearing a ward, almost butts heads with Bless. But you can see that Gorilla was nearby to help out, make sure that fight does not happen.
Look at that bottom tier 1 turret on the minimap. That is all but dead for BBQ. A little bit surprising that Crazy didn't look to make any more aggressive plays. You can see that his ability to create a CS gap up in top has all but gone away. So you would think that he would begin to just endlessly shove in the waves and roam to try to make things happen with Tempt in the mid lane. And at the very least, he could maybe get Fly to back up a little bit further and enable Tempt to get a little bit more turret damage in, but he's not even looking for anything like that. And it's stuff like this that have been causing a lot of problems for BBQ throughout the season when the early game transitions into the mid game. They seem very vulnerable and confused at this stage of the game.
Uh-oh, being jumped here is Blast on the Crash. The Shock Blast does come out. He is going to repel up. Tempt is going 1v3 right now. Bless, he flashes the wall, but goes down to Vlad's ultimate, and all of a sudden, this is turning around. Crash able to pick up the kill onto Tempt. Now the rest of BBQ is on the run. Down comes Crazy. Ghost is going in for that kill. He will get it, but may just die for it. He's trying to do a bit of damage onto Gorilla. That he does, but eventually dies, and all of a sudden this is an even game in terms of the gold.
Yeah, I would even say that Longzhu is probably ahead after that. If you look at the way that the lanes are right now, they're going to be able to certainly pick up First Blood turret as well. And now they don't quite have the same level gold lead that they would want at this stage, but it's going to be a gold lead nonetheless. And it looks like actually Gorilla and Prey are going to share that. Take another quick look at this replay, and Bless almost unnecessarily trying to clear out that ward despite not having enough proper vision. Tempt goes in, and you have to wonder exactly what he's thinking. I think that he watched maybe Captain America Civil War lately. He's thinking he's a little bit stronger than he is. Bless ended up just going down. Also a little bit bizarre that he didn't just flash away sooner.
And
Ghost, yeah, he tried to salvage the situation.
If he misses that Q, then he just dies for nothing. It's just never going to be worth it, even if he does get the kill. All the assist gold, and now Crazy's going to get jumped on here. And it looked like Crash ran right over a control ward as well, but he's finally beginning to have some amount of pressure on this map, as it doesn't seem like BBQ is really respecting him, as he's just creating kill after kill.
And Tempt constantly trading needlessly in mid. He's even going to be forced to recall right here. That's going to create a lot of pressure relief in mid. And you can see Crash now up in top lane even. Going to rotate with Expression. He might just tank the turret actually for a little bit. Expression does have aggro. He's got a little bit of extra turret damage. Crazy doesn't have teleport. That's going to be top tier. One turret going down for BBQ, and that's going to enable Longzhu to turn their attention to mid lane. And this is the type of acceleration that they needed. You're going to notice that Fly's going to have both of his summoners available to him soon. They can look to eventually just have a very explosive team fight as soon as Zanya's is completed for him. BBQ's going to pick up Cloud Drake, but honestly, at this stage of the game, it's going to be Cloud Drake.
And it looked like the next one was possibly Cloud Drake again. So maybe if they can stack those, they'll begin to have a bit of effect. They'll get away from that all-in composition of Longzhu. That's about it. Lots of members waiting in that tri-brush. Bless has been hanging around bot. Oh, here comes the three-man gank, and Prey is just farming. Does flash the cocoon and will survive, but they do grab his flash.
Now at this point, it's all about BBQ trying to salvage mid lane and all the vision control that surrounds it.
Well, they're going to beat a fight here, and that was really nicely done by Fly. Temps jumping in once again. Fly going to flash away. Crazy going in for the flash as well, but not able to pick up anything. Slowed down here, not in a good position, and gets hit by the arrow now. Looks like he will survive somehow, some way. As no further engage out of Longzhu, they did not want to dive that turret. I was looking scary there for a bit for BBQ.
Well, it just seems like they have absolutely no damage foresight on this Vladimir pick. I mean, that honestly seems to be the only way to really describe what it is that we're watching. They're constantly handshaking on fights and trades that are never going to be favorable, and it's very bizarre to see. You have to wonder if they're beginning to tilt. After their early game start, you have to know that, I mean, they must have known how far ahead they were. And now to see them get to this stage can't be the most settling feeling in the world. And now they're going to try to have Tempt go into the side lane to begin picking up farm as Ghost tries to hold it down in mid. One of the very big problems actually right now, though, is the 2-level difference in jungle. Crash has a much easier itemization path than Bless.
Fly moving forward, Tempt jumping forward towards Fly. Fly will eat a bit of damage. It looks like BBQ is going to group up, but look at all that AoE damage coming out of Fly. Tempt will be in a bit of trouble, but he jumps in again. The Zonias is completed on Fly, but he may just die after that, and that he does. The re-engage here from Expression going 3v5. Lots of knockups, lots of very low members of BBQ, but everybody survives, and they pick up 2 kills.
That's actually a great opportunistic fight for BBQ. Longzhu, they can't afford to take skirmishes like that.
Okay, they're gonna re-engage here, and Expression flashes away, N dies, baits in prey, and down he goes. That's a double kill attempt. And just when you thought Longzhu was coming back, they're like, here BBQ, it's White Day, we'll give you a nice little present.
Maybe that is what's actually going on here. Feeling a little bit generous. And so, in a bizarre turn of events, looks like the game has yet again been flipped on its head. And if BBQ can keep looking for fights like this, they benefit much more from 3v3s and obscure 4v4s than Longzhu. Longzhu has a heavy reliance on all being together for the team fight and operating as a unit. And one of the main problems for Longzhu is they don't have a very reliable way of getting onto Ghost if Fly doesn't have both of his summoners.
That arrow hits Tempt in the back. He'll be fine to eat that one. It almost hit Ghost. That would have been a bit more scary, but you can see Fly at half health. BBQ able to pick up the turret. They're second of the game.
Now the game might have actually been brought back into a point where BBQ has a slight advantage. And I mostly say this because, again, we talked about how earlier on BBQ, they have the luxury of the superior scaling. The map, for the most part, is opened up enough where they can constantly keep sending Jace and Ezreal to get whatever resources are necessary. And without proper neutral objectives to entice a team fight from either side, it's going to be very difficult for Longzhu to find an opening, especially if they don't have all of their summoners across all 5 members of their team. And so in that regard, they have a heavier reliance on some other factors than BBQ.
See lots of pings going down at the Cloud Drake. As we mentioned before, the second one that you pick up is quite nice.
Every Drake today, Brendan, is going to be Cloud Drake because it's White Day.
Because it's White Day?
It's White Day. So every dragon is going to be that, and Elder Dragon.
Yeah. I was going to say Elder Drake is like, it's got like a silver tone to it though.
Yeah, it's ivory.
Ivory. Close enough. Invade here from Longzhu. Just by 2 members, they get spotted by a ward, but no collapse from BBQ. There was an escape path for Longzhu towards the top of the map.
And looks like BBQ are going to be the ones, yet again, to actually pick up the Cloud Drake. See the next dragon to spawn. It ruined it.
What's this blue Drake business?
Yeah. Well, these have been the worst dragon spawns for the game so far. So the RNG, not really so great for either team. As the Ocean Drake, not really going to be too useful for either members. A little bit better for BBQ if they could manage to pick it up. It would enable their poke on Jace and Ezreal a little bit better.
Both of them going for that Muramana anyway, but just to add a little bit extra regen would be nice. And it looks like finally Longzhu is going to take down that turret that was at about 30 health for 3 or 4 minutes now. It's funny that even with that very early lead that Crazy got up in top thanks to Bless, that the top turret for Longzhu is pretty healthy, and BBQ has lost their top turret, which gives Longzhu the lead in turrets right now. Oh, they're going for this. Fly is going to be slowed down to about half health. Let's get a bit of that back, and it's quite fast. So no full-on engage from BBQ, although Bless is coming up here at the same time. Million pings going down as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes on through. The Nautilus ultimate comes out onto Crazy, but they cannot engage. And this means that BBQ can come up top and take that top turret.
They did manage to get the flash, though, out of Crazy. Yeah, and Gorilla now has to flash away, out of position needlessly. And you can see that Longzhu, just their map movements are a little bit clunky, and they're definitely not as coordinated as they need to be. They had all of their summoners up, and that would have been a key opportunity for them to look for a team fight, as they have a pretty big reliance. Now they're just going to give up top tier 2 as well. Very slow to react to that. Ping's going down onto Baron. Probably just going to be vision removal. Can't see it being anything else. And right now, if you look up at the gold and top, it's about a 3,000 difference in favor of BBQ, but when you factor in the scaling, the position is a lot worse for Longzhu.
You can see the Rumble already on 3 items with Merc Treads included, or not included, I should say. Void Staff completed. And he's going to be ripping through a lot of these members that have built MR on the side of Longzhu. The Vladimir, the Nautilus, even with the Hex Drinker on the Kazakhs. Tempt coming up, just farming top. Still lots of wards around that Baron. You were talking about clearing out some of that vision, but looks like Longzhu is able to make another swing by and place some more wards.
Well, right now, all BBQ really have to do is just keep farming the waves as they come to them. It would be a mistake for BBQ to look to go aggressive right here. By playing defensive, they are offensive.
Now, you can see even just how much damage Ghost can do to Prey with just a little bit of poke. Now imagine, you know, Crazy with the equalizer potential, the Cocoon, and obviously Jace with the Shock Blast. You can see a dead Prey. He's got to be extremely careful. No defensive items on him just yet. As long as they can sit back and poke and not get hit by an Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
They can't be this spread out. You can see that they're looking for a teleport on Expression. Remember, they are all in with their team fights. Heavy reliance on the summoner spells. So
there's the TP.
We're going to get the all in. But
Fly's trading with Tempt up top, and Gorilla is going to be melted. Wow. Trying to go 1v2 against Crazy, and Ghost is not going to go well. Tempt is going in. Almost takes out Fly. The True Shot Barrage does not hit. The Equalizer is not going to hit Fly either. Expression all alone. Bless and Ghost going ham in the back line. Everybody may be going down here. Expression going to eat it too. Fly all alone goes down. That's 4 kills. Actually, that's the ace in total for Longzhu. All of them going down. BBQ with a massive team fight, and now they're going to push this inhibitor.
Ghost going absolutely nuts, and huge credit to Temp for locking up Fly. Really weird when you look at Longzhu's team composition, and they're sort of like a, what is it called, a transformer, where they all need to really just be together in order for it to work. And
their powers combined.
Yeah, when Fly was so out of position and late to arrive, it's actually going to be the game.
Yeah, that's going to be it. Game 1 goes over to BBQ as Longzhu gets aced at their tier 2 mid turret. And down they go.
And what a wacky turn of events where they were completely set up for the team fight, but the angle of approach that Fly took and his timing at when he was intending to arrive was just really off, and ends up costing his team dearly. And in the end, BBQ get a very surprise victory. And honestly, it looked like that was going to go fantastic for Longzhu. They could probably convert that into a Baron if they won. If they went even, it would have enabled them to fix up the lanes. But BBQ turns it completely around, and they managed to win a game here. So we'll see what happens in game number 2. But Ghost's Ezreal proved to be the thorn in Longzhu's side that game.
Really, really nice.
12 out of 14 kills.
Yeah. The Ezreal Lulu bot lane becoming more and more popular. We'll see if they let that happen. We're going to take a look at a replay first, though.
And you can just see the way that Fly was trying to approach. A little bit needless. He had his summoners up. He easily could have ghosted and flashed in from the front and cast his ultimate, but instead tried to go for a wraparound in more of a dream scenario, and it was just completely pointless. So Expression was on his own, and then with Expression not there as the front line for his team, they're just sort of cut off, and that enabled Ghost Bless to just go a little bit more ham than they probably could have been able to otherwise.
Lots of focus on Ghost here on that Ezreal. Seeing it picked more and more often here, and Ghost, he's learned it, doing quite well. So guys, we are going to go to that analyst desk right now. We'll be back in about 2 minutes with the desk.